Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, January 17th, 2023, after 3 p.m. Eastern. We have a time for change call tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to open the Book of Truth for this civilization and the planet, which has not been opened before. But we're going to open the Book of Truth, and we're going to start sharing truth and honesty. If you do not have mastery over your mind, you cannot know the mystery of existence. Yogi Bhajan. If you do not have mastery of your mind, you cannot know the mystery of existence. There's only one thing that will delay our enlightenment. There is only one place that we can hide, where the enlightenment state cannot find us. As long as we keep doing this one thing, we will always stop bliss from entering our being. This one block can be the hardest or the easiest thing to change. It all depends on willingness to trust life and surrender. Do we really want to know what our block is? We never stop and give our minds real time and space to rest. We never stop and give our minds real time and space to rest. That's it. We never relax from our thinking, feeling, and doing routines. The mind never stops, and this pattern can only persist because we don't know how to slow down, shut off the audiovisual department for a bit, and let everything relax. We don't know how to do it. We don't know how to slow down. If we are always paying attention to the thoughts in our heads, how are we going to be free? We will need to go deeper into ourselves if and when we want to be free. It might be enough to just to imagine the experience of total freedom. Have no thought about anything. Nothing. Now, for 17 seconds, just try this for a moment. Try it and see what happens. Be totally unfocused for just 17 seconds. See what this does to your consciousness. Let this inner experience soak in. 17 seconds. A little different, isn't it? See, we're every day along this amazing journey through this life. We get the opportunity to fine-tune our abilities to make healthy decisions that empower and inspire our lives. Some decisions are easy and obvious to make, while others can feel like they're ripping our minds and hearts into 1,000 tiny pieces. When we reach one of these major life choice points and have to step into this colossal crossroads, take the time to go through this process so we can make the most enlightened decisions available to us. You've probably heard the term, beggars can't be choosers. My mother used to say that all the time when we were growing up. Beggars, and I'm sure a lot of other parents used to say that. Beggars can't be choosers. Now, for any of us, deciding what we truly want in this life can be very challenging because it feels like we are defining who we are and who we are not. If and when we commit to deciding to do one thing, we can feel confined and that we are excluding 1,000 other possible options. The other reason why decisions are often so challenging is the time frame or deadline we form around them. Now, say that we had an infinite number of years to reach our desired outcome. We might become so relaxed about the whole thing that it wouldn't matter if any decision was ever made. This enlightened path that we are all on to discover here is that the limitations we feel around time and resources can work for us or against us. When we're thinking that we don't have an abundance of money, love, time, creativity, or manifesting power, it can force us to get deeply creative. When we have consequences to our choices, a price tag that we have to pay for every decision made or not made, we become even more reverent beings who are conscious, choosing who we want to be and why we are here. When it comes down to reality, believe it or not, we have full choice as to if we entertain this belief in limitation or not. Our minds will make up all sorts of stories about what is true and real and what is fiction and fantasy. Yet the truth is, we are living in an ocean of unlimited consciousness, unlimited conscious intelligent energy that has no boundaries or borders. The mind likes to create limitations to play with and believe in some form of pressure around special decisions that have to be made. Yet the big secret here and discovery is knowing we are all spiritual beings at the core. Our infinite spiritual nature contains the realization that there are no limitations. There is no death after the body is gone. And deep down, we know that we have an infinite resource of manifesting power inside us and an eternity of time to create anything we desire. There is no such thing as a person. There are only restrictions and limitations. The sum total of these defines the person. The person merely appears to be, like the space within the pot appears to have the shape and volume and smell of the pot. Nisargadatta. To step into the realm of making enlightened decisions, we must choose to start with blowing up the mind. Now, we all know that the mind is too small of a container for an enlightened decision to fit in. We must choose to drop the mind completely for an enlightened choice to find its way in. To reach this place of enlightened insight is not hard. It takes patience and the willingness to see the infinite realm of possibilities that exist here, now. We must choose to be willing to quiet the mind so it eventually stops its desperate, perpetual search for answers. To truly understand what an enlightened decision is all about, we might need to first clarify what an unenlightened decision entails. An unenlightened decision is one that is not self-reflective, that is not introspective, or taking into consideration a deep love and respect for yourself. When we don't know who we are or what our hearts truly yearn to manifest in this life, chances are that we will struggle with every decision that comes our way. Now, this doesn't mean in order to make the most enlightened decision, we need to contemplate for several hours when taking any risk or leap in this life. When we are in tune with our deepest life mission and purpose, we can make a huge, enlightened life choice spontaneously and confidently. We can tell a decision is enlightened when it brings us more freedom, lightness, love, depth, or even more possible choices. An enlightened decision will not limit our future, yet rather will expand our consciousness in every dimension. Enlightened decisions are win-win solutions, where everyone benefits in some miraculous way. The most enlightened decision will manifest instantly when the mind is perfectly calm and silent. In other words, when you choose to leave the mind alone. Here we become truly in tune with our hearts, aligned with our spiritual nature, and capable of feeling what our deepest needs are. The more we are in touch with our spiritual nature, our true soul connection to this universe, we will know what we most want to experience every day before we leave these bodies. Knowing this connection, every decision-making experience becomes easier and happens faster all along the way. Now, if we are afraid to make any decision that could possibly alter our normal, safe life circumstances, we will notice that the mind is frozen in Fearville. It is terrified of change, thinking things will remain okay if I remain in full control and don't make any changes. If and when we are able to take one baby step out of this comfort zone, we will not end up molding and rotting in our cozy safety pit. An enlightened decision maker loves taking risks because they realize there truly is nothing to risk. They know they are soul, a truly infinite being inside, and are excited to throw some spice into their lives in order to really enjoy the ride. Have you ever sat down with someone and said, "How's the ride going?" Most people wouldn't understand what you meant. Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane, right? Those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. Friedrich Nietzsche. To make that deep change and arrive in the liberating land of enlightened choice making, think about those choices you've made in the past that have made your heart sing the loudest. What great risks have you taken that have manifested the most wonderful situation that is still impacting you today? By trusting the risks we have taken in the past, we will relax deeper into ourselves and realize that we are listening to our hearts. This is one of the first steps to uncovering our real spiritual essence. Notice how you feel when you're coming from a place of intuition, inspiration, love, and trust. Just feeling into these qualities every day make it 1,000 times easier to become that empowered co-creator of your life and dreamy designer of your destiny. The most enlightened decision we can make will always be the one that brings the deepest relaxation into our bodies and minds. The most enlightened decision we can make will always be the one that brings the deepest relaxation into our bodies and minds. The most unenlightened decision will always be creating more stress, tension, anxiety, and fear inside. The enlightened path is about basing our futures on avoiding or possessing potential what-if outcomes. The unenlightened path, which most on this planet are on, is about basing their future on avoiding or possessing potential what-if outcomes. If and when we are desperately trying to avoid something from manifesting in our lives, we are more likely going to attract it and end up being a closed hand for receiving what we truly want. And that's the majority of people on this planet. It's crucial for us to understand that. The unenlightened path is about basing our future on avoiding or possessing potential what-if outcomes. If and when we are desperately trying to avoid something from manifesting into our lives, we are more likely going to attract it and end up being a closed hand for receiving what we truly want. If and when we are always attached to a particular outcome having to happen in order to be happy, we become so rigid that we cannot relax into the happiness when it does arrive. Sometimes it seems impossible, even though it isn't, to make any decision at all in this life. We hit the super jackpot of challenging decisions and feel forced to make a major life choice where there is no evident win-win scenario. Our souls, our soulmate and life partner, is drowning in a sea of circling hungry sharks. The best outcome might be what we believe is best for others. Or, another time, it may be only what's in the best interest of ourselves, for ourselves. Sometimes we must choose that safe route. What has been comfortable or known to us in the past, while other times it's better to take that dangerous leap of faith into the unknown. What helps us to find the most enlightened decision when confronted with a real life challenging scenario is noticing where the choice is coming from. Is it coming from love and trust, or is it coming from fear and tension? The outcome we manifest will be based on the springboard we jump from. If and when we dive into the water out of pure fear, the sharks will smell that and eat us alive. If and when we dive in with passion, love, and trust, we just might escape alive. To find out if our choice is love-based or fear-based, pay close attention to your chest. Notice how the energy around your heart responds when you think about the choice. Does it expand in love or contract in fear? Be aware of how grounded you are in this feeling and how it touches you emotionally as well. In this life, there is always a choice to be made. Even if we freeze and don't make any decision at all, this still ends up becoming a choice. And we must choose to surrender to our default destiny, letting the universe decide what's best for us. This freeze point in decision-making is one of the most powerful, transformational places we can arrive at. It is the point where pure choiceless awareness is found. It is the easiest place where we can create a breakthrough into our higher state of consciousness. When all thought processes come to a total stop, this is the moment when the radical, spiritually liberating experience of pure choiceless awareness comes into play. When all thought processes come to a total stop. In other words, we leave the mind alone by focusing on the breath, being as still as a statue. This is the moment when the radical, spiritually liberating experience of pure choiceless awareness comes into play. In this place, there is no separate chooser, no ego, or limited being in need of anything. There is simply a relaxation into the spiritual destiny that the soul is already aligned with. The highest states of consciousness are found in the most random and ordinary circumstances. An enlightening experience can show up in a simple urge to move to a new city, get a new job, or change to a new relationship. It often happens when the mind becomes completely frozen and it cannot decide what the right decision will create the most happiness, success, and freedom. It's frozen. Ultimately, for the soul, it doesn't matter if our ego gets what it wants or not. The soul is more interested in where we are making each choice from. Okay? The choice is always coming from either a state of love or fear. Notice, what experience are you really trying to have in this life anyway? What experience are you really trying to have in this life anyway? Now, let's say that you had a magic wand, and you could wave a magic wand, right? What would you honestly want your great destiny in this life to be? Okay? You have a magic wand. What would you honestly want your great destiny in this life to be? And by using the magic wand, you can make it so. What would that be? If and when you want spiritual freedom, you could choose to stay in the same house, at the same job, or with the same relationship that you've been in for years. As long as you're seeing what a sacred teacher this situation is, we will be able to love where we are and feel truly free there. However, if we want financial freedom and great material success, we may want to do something radically different, move to that new town with the big job that has no financial ceiling to it. There are no right or wrong paths to take in this life. There are only choices that we make and how we truly feel inside about them. This game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. Florence Scovel Shinn. It is good to know that every curse we perceive in this life is a deeply eternal loving in disguise. It can happen that we incur so much intense emotion and pressure around a decision. You ever been there? That it can happen that we incur so much intense emotion and pressure around a decision that we tend to hesitate, procrastinate, or distract ourselves with doing meaningless, time-consuming tasks instead. When the mind is wrapped up in fear, we end up trying to avoid feeling the fear by doing things which are somewhat enjoyable and yet deeply mind-altering. When the mind is doing a crazy number on us, right? When your mind's doing a crazy number on you, the best thing to do is to go for a walk, have some tea with a friend, relax with a good book, and get the whole process, right? Let the whole process go. This approach is a conscious technique for trusting deeper in this universe. And it will show us what the best choice is when the timing is right. It may seem like, you may be avoiding making the decision, yet truly you're diving deeper into the trusting process. This conscious trusting method is powerful and effective as long as it doesn't turn into a lazy excuse for entertaining your addictions and avoid taking full responsibility for your life. The mind is a trickster. We know that. And will do anything to avoid any experience. Anything to avoid any experience. The mind is a trickster and will do anything to avoid an experience it doesn't want to have. Now, if this sounds like you must choose to watch your mind extra close. Commit to only doing the most inspired actions that make your heart sing every minute of the day. And eventually, you'll start feeling really inspired and can relax enough inside to see clarity around which decision to make. Best of all, you'll have the deepest sleep when the day is over. Enlightened choices are naturally born from how we approach the circumstances we're already in. Enlightened choices are naturally born from how we approach the circumstances we're already in. We may first need to discover that we have to stop trying to alter the outer world so that our inner world feels better. Or we may need to alter our outer world to give us access to the things we are really yearning for. However we approach this world, the secret is to remain in contact with what we truly want. Breathe through the challenging feeling we're facing. Relax into what cannot relax into on the inside. Relax into what cannot relax into on the inside. This practice opens the door to enter into that all expansive states of pure choiceless awareness, which is the breeding grounds for the most enlightened perspective on reality. Once we are living in an enlightened perspective on reality, every decision we make will have this enlightened quality to it. The more enlightened decisions we can make, the more this level of consciousness develops, and the more amazing things that spontaneously manifest into our lives. It's good to understand here that what essentially makes one's perspective enlightened is that the mind is at ease. We are tuned into our spiritual essence instead of the circus of thoughts circulating in our heads. From this place, every person and situation we encounter is felt through the heart and not just judged and analyzed through the head. We feel everyone for the soul and pure conscious spirit they truly are. We live as completely fresh, new, and sacred in all its divine ways. When the mind gets in the habit of seeing everyone and everything as sacred, there is a deep recognition of what's good inside ourselves, a perpetual stream of gratitude and enlightened choices seem to naturally flow from every thought we have. By surrendering to the idea that everything is sacred, we realize we cannot make a mistake on this spiritual journey through life. By surrendering to the idea that everything is sacred, we realize we cannot make a mistake on this spiritual journey through life. If there is a thing even known as a mistake, we know the universe is ultimately running the greatest show on earth. We begin to honor this truth, feeling more relaxed about our future. And this helps the mind to see and feel into things more clearly. In deep relaxation, we can feel aligned with the highest outcome this universe already has in store for our greatest possible futures. We stop being afraid and worried about what will occur tomorrow and are naturally spontaneous, quick to love, and feeling on purpose and creative. We are truly living in the now, every moment of our lives. This is a deeply surrendering space to live in, and when we can choose it each day, we become capable of designing our destiny confidently, choosing a life we would truly love to have. When we cannot trust the experience of surrender, we will remain stuck in the mind, trying to control the negative or positive outcomes and how they might manifest. This deep level of surrender is the most important quality needed for our enlightened decision-making skill set. The deeper we can surrender, the more confidence we can collect within ourselves and our ability to truly enjoy wherever we are at in our lives. Any type of choice we make from this place can only lead us to creating more love, more abundance, and a deeper relaxation into our lives. Do not judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant, Robert Louis Stevenson. Please do not worry if you feel lost in your life. We often become lost because the people in society around us are generally truly lost. Please do not worry if you feel lost in your life. We often become lost because the people in society around us are generally truly lost. Most people are not aware in this very moment, are not aware of their spiritual nature, consciously living their lives with a sacred, loving purpose. So, of course, they are going to feel lost. People tend to fall into the mind's comfortable habits of unhappy or unhealthy thinking, which then manifest all throughout their lives. They're doing it to themselves, and they don't even know it. As far as survival instincts go in this life, generally we humans tend to go along. Generally, we humans tend to go along with what the group decides. If and when we choose, we just get along with others, we won't get cast out and die. See, if we just get along with others, we won't get cast out and die. So we might end up allowing decisions to be made for us by the whole. Now, if we are someone who tends to fall into this sheep following pattern, do not fret. There is soon coming a new experience of this life that is profound and amazing. There is a huge opportunity to make that decision go deeper into your unique expression. Give a voice to that creativity that wants to give birth inside you. It's not that following a group is wrong. The most important thing is that you feel free, empowered, and happy with whatever decision is being made through you. Just make sure you don't have any regrets on your deathbed. A life lived without regrets is a well-loved life. A life lived without regrets is a well-loved life. Now, some people tend to take one step of baby steps, and then others big leaps. It's up to you. You take one baby step or a leap, knowing how to make enlightened decisions, right? And the only way that happens is by getting to know you better. You getting to know you better. Sometime take an hour. Write down a list of everything that you want in this life without joking or laughing. Serious. I mean, in a really devoted way, okay? Take 1 hour, write down a list of everything that you want in this life, include all the areas of life in your relationships, health, sex, travel, money, work, friends, family, home, spirituality, and love. Be specific, and please make this an exhaustive list where you don't exclude anything that you might want. Now, after you've made your list, circle the top 5 things that make your heart sing the loudest. Then prioritize these 5 things in the order of which makes you feel the most relaxed, expansive, rooted within your body. Read out loud these 5 things each morning and evening in the mirror, stating them in the past tense, as if you have already manifested them in your life. We have this, it's a continual process that we're challenged with, that we create the challenge for ourselves. And not a bad thing. Some of us will, if we haven't already, will become to understand that everything is you, and you are everything. This isn't a whim wish. This is a reality. Now, the majority of us on this planet have a fear created by the ego mind of the unknown. And when the ego mind directs us instead of our heart mind, now it's not like we're aware of this, because if we were aware of it, we would know how to temper it and then eventually eliminate it. Now, some people, the ego mind comes in and says, well, if everybody was aware of the power that they are, everything would be in chaos. That's the ego mind talking. In reality, when you discover who and what you are, and you do this through the heart mind, and you touch the God within you, you embrace the God within you that you are, there is nothing in the dark realm that can touch you. Period. Nothing. And you become pure love, and the planet, that vibrational frequency shifts the entire planet and civilization. The ego mind would want you to believe, right? Oh no, you got a bunch of irresponsible people. This is what's funny. A bunch of irresponsible people exercising this power that they have. The whole point is that when you discover how powerful you are, you really don't need it. You don't exercise it. See, that's 3D vibrational frequency. Every frequency vibrates. And it emits little fine hairs, almost thinner than hairs, out into space, out into the universe. And each one of those contains both ego mind and heart mind. And your choice is either ego mind or heart mind. When we get angry at something, it could be anything. Could be something that, is so trivial. But because of the state we're in, our emotional state, it picks us, it lights us up, so to speak. It puts that anger, frustration switch on. And then we start, lots of colorful metaphors. We bang on ourselves. Oh, I can't believe I made a mistake. And that energy that you're emitting is low frequency. People say, well, sometimes you're just going to get angry. Why? If you're an enlightened being, you don't get angry. See how things try to continually attach themselves to us? No matter where we go, that's ego mind. Well, you have a totally benevolent civilization, then it's vulnerable to be tricked and manipulated and controlled. Actually, the opposite is true. A benevolent civilization that has great power of knowledge cannot be harmed. And knowing cannot be harmed. Okay. Now, the reason that we can be manipulated is because we lived in the ego mind. We live there. That's our home. There's our den, our warm, cozy place where we go. We retreat to the ego mind. Now, to literally understand that all of the superficial energies and frequencies that all of us are experiencing, okay? You really can focus on the heart mind, move into the now, where the ego mind does not exist, and watch. You're as still as a statue, and you watch everything. And you know that the energy and frequency that you understand is temporary, and it's been created by the majority, not the minority. It's all been created. All of this disheartened, frustrating, disappointment is suffering because we're in the ego mind. Now, when you decide, when each of us decide that all of this has no meaning when you're in the heart mind and you have communed with the God that you are, it is a construct created by low frequency energy emissions. That's how everything is created. Nothing creates itself. It's creation that creates everything. And all of us are creation. We create. We are supreme reality. We are divine, omnipotently powerful, supreme beings in these bodies. And we never die. Knowing this, things change, don't they? You do not look at certain things and happenings, right, that you did before when you were solely in the ego mind. You don't judge. You view. And then you say to yourself, the life that I choose to live is this. And you make that statement with no expectations. You really do. No expectations. No attachments whatsoever. Because once you devote that energy, then it is being created and formed. Now in the ego mind will keep telling you, oh, what are you going to do if it doesn't work? What's going to happen then? How are you going to handle this? This could be a real problem here. What are we going to do about that? And none of us are exempt from it. And it's all ego mind. So we know that. Now we know that's half of the way. Half the way. So in this quiet time and meditation, focus on the now. Be still as a statue. Watch. Don't judge. Watch through the heart-mind. Devote your frequencies, higher frequencies, to, and it doesn't matter what's going on around you. That's the ego mind. Devote your frequencies and energies as the God that you are to the life that you wish to live. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. An easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. The mind is a vehicle to discover the divine. It is not who and what we truly are. There are no more experiences of suffering when there is non-attachment to the mind. Peace, lightness, and oneness is within. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. And we will return here Wednesday, January 18th, 2023, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our Global Guided Meditation call, and 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our Time for Change call. Be good to yourselves. Stay in deep gratitude. Practice, practice, practice. Even if you do it 1,000 times a day, eventually it will become automatic.